Hello and welcome one more week. Before we start today, let me give you some items and tell me if they are somehow familiar to your situation, if you have experienced something of the sort. You have an office work and you realize that lately it's very difficult to focus, to concentrate because there are like constant interruptions in your workflow. There are like some tasks that come ad hoc, some other activities that constantly interrupt your daily workflow. Second, there are a lot of meetings that actually cut you in the middle of the process of doing something important. You're in the middle of your workday doing a task, but you need to get interrupted because you need a meeting to attend, and then 2 hours later, another meeting in which you're going to discuss something similar. 3. Lately, documentation you need to do, it's been multiplied. There's a lot of instances when you need to give the same data to different teams or to repeat work, document different things several times. 4. Every time that there is a decision to be done, it needs to be taken to a bigger meeting or to a committee, or somebody else needs to check that. 5. You've been invited to town halls where some of the managers are holding motivational speeches that sometimes don't reflect what you see in the reality. And 6, before you have one boss, and suddenly you have 2, 3, or more bosses which overlap responsibilities, and sometimes whatever you need to do, it needs to be run by 2 or 3 of them. If you have experienced this, you will be surprised to know that all of this is there are actually rules on a sabotage book created in the Second World War, and somehow we have managed to turn this into our everyday. This is why burnout is something that is happening more and more often, and we can see it around us. And this is why I decided to make this video, to raise a little bit of awareness and try to give you some tools to identify and act on the burnout, both if you're an individual contributor or if you're a manager, to understand how you can help your team. With no further ado, let's begin. My name is Borja Marin. This is Corporate Cat. So, first of all, let's define what is burnout. Burnout is not just feeling sad or stressed in a moment. Burnout is defined as mentally, emotional, and sometimes physical exhaustion caused by a prolonged time of stress. Normally it's related to work, but it can be as well caused by your personal life, like parenting or romantic relationships. However, we're going to focus right now on the work bit. Basically, it's this kind of feeling in which you feel that you no longer enjoy that, but not only that, it's like it really causes you this physical or emotional pain. When you go to work and when you need to address a task, it varies. For some people, it's just anxiety. For other people, it's even like paralysis, like unable to do something. We're gonna see now what are the signs of burnout. Like typical signs of burnout are tiredness, insomnia, headaches, memory loss, and the most important, emotional drain and productivity decrease. Because burnout, it's one of the causes in which you as a worker or your team will stop working. This is why this is extremely important, and I think that we are not giving the importance companies should really focus on prevent burnout, and I think that we are taking just the opposite direction. Burnout is not gonna be just cured because you have yoga on Fridays or there is Wednesday pizza thing. There are a number of causes of the burnout, and only addressing all of these causes we will be able to prevent or alleviate the symptoms of the burnout. Now, what are the typical causes of burnout? Number 1 is lack of control. When you feel that there is nothing that actually you can do in terms of, for example, if you're a manager, your power is being cut and there is really nothing that you can do. You have become just like overpowered secretary of your boss, or just the person that provide the news to your team. But not only that, as well, when you see in your company that it doesn't matter that you work hard because you're not going to get a promotion, because either the project is not growing or the company doesn't offer you these possibilities, or just the culture of the company is not good enough, or the culture of the company actually rewards people for other causes and not for hard work, this is something that we perceive as that it's out of our control. Second is conflict of value. We all have some values, and by working in a company, we need to make sure that the values align with the company one, because otherwise we will be in conflict with your own values. For example, if we work for a marketing company and company will prioritize making the numbers above telling the truth to our clients, probably this is something that in the long run will cause you to be absolutely burnout, because it goes against your own values if your values are, truth, honesty, and so on. The third one is insufficient rewards. This is the obvious thing. You need to get, and I have spoken about rewards in other videos, but I'm not speaking exclusively about money, but let's face it, this is one of the most important things. Worldwide, cost of living is rising. So if your salary is not adjusting to your necessities, probably you're gonna feel like eventually your efforts are not properly rewarded. But not only that, it's as well about promotions, how much valued you are in the company. The number 4 is work overload. If your working load is above your possibilities, work is gonna keep on piling, and this is gonna stress you, and this is gonna affect your capacity of resolution, and it's gonna be highly prejudicial for you. Fifth reason, probably the one that we can control the least, it's unfairness or in a toxic environment in our work. It means is if promotions are given like arbitrarily or not following fair system, and you see people that it's taking responsibility position where they are not prepared for that or they are not equipped for that. This is one thing, but as well the other is like the amount of toxic people that you have around. It's the corporate culture that you have in your company. If actually the team is working as a team, or you have somebody that is looking to spot out the mistakes and make sure that they want to expose to the managers, yes, in order to increase their reputation by damaging you. Okay. What to do to minimize the negative impact of burnout? For the first 2 reasons, lack of control and value conflict, we can use the dichotomy of control. You can check the video in the link. I spoke about the dichotomy of control in my first video on this channel. Basically, dichotomy of control tells you that everything can be separated into things that you can control, things that you cannot control. You should put your efforts into the things that you can control. Break down your tasks and understand what are the things that fall into your control. Into your control, it's not, for example, reaction of your clients or the amount of work that you may have, but the way that you approach this is totally up to you. As well, if there is a conflict of values, some of your tasks, you can choose to take first the tasks that align better with your values. For the third and the fourth cause, insufficient rewards and work overload, I recommend you another of my videos, that is the one about the Pareto rule. It's the 80-20 rule, okay? Basically, that means that you need to identify what is the 20% of your workload that will give you the 80% of the results, and focus on that. Sometimes what we do is to keep ourselves busy with irrelevant tasks, and then we have the feeling that we have been doing a lot. However, the results that we are getting are not what we expect. So obviously this influences negatively in the rewards, because we have a feeling of being working a lot. However, the reward keeps being the same. If you switch that and you focus on this 20% and you put your 80% of effort into this 20%, what you will realize is that reducing your actual workload you will get better results. So the rewards that you're getting will feel better because eventually you're not spending like 9 hours. Maybe you're spending like 6 or 5 hours into the certain task, but you're like eliminating the irrelevant tasks. So will make your bandwidth wider. About the last one, unfairness and toxic environments, there is not much you can do. If you identify that your company has this kind of culture, the best thing for you is to leave. You can try to speak with the responsible people of that, but if it's something that is actually in the DNA of the project, of all the culture, let's be honest, most likely it's not gonna be on your power to change it, unless you are a manager and this is your identification. It will be your job to actually do it. But if you are suffering that from people above you, my best recommendation here is start looking for a job that has a culture that matches you. This is it for today. I hope you find this useful. If you like this kind of content, please let me know in the comments. As I always said, I don't expect this to be a video that's very exhaustive about burnout, but rather like a entry door. If you want to explore more, I really recommend you to go on YouTube and check different videos. There is like loads of really great content there that you can see about burnout and start working on that, because this is actually an epidemic of nowadays in the corporate world. I see a lot of people in my environment that is suffering burnout, and it's kind of like a silent enemy that we need to treat somehow. If you're a manager, keep in mind all this advice I'm giving you and make sure that whoever is reporting to you, it's your responsibility to make sure that they don't suffer for being in your project. Thank you very much. If you like this content, please remember to subscribe, drop a comment, click the bell, and see you next week. Bye.